a lot of I was talking to somebody today and I'm like, yo, every day it's like more terrible. Every single day is more terrible. And I know, and just to think like, yo, it's hasn't been a year. Where you want to go with the political perspective? Because I know it's the government shut. There's 100 different places you can go.
Yeah, so the first place, and welcome to the political perspective.
Yes.
I'm Reggie, aka Speed and Bullet. That's B, three exclamation points. And if you are not political, you do not have a perspective. And like B said, it's just so many places to go with politics in this really era that we're living in. That's really unprecedented. Like I don't remember politics having so many twists and turns every single day. And we lived through Bush and Clinton and Obama and even first Trump. I mean, I don't even remember first Trump wasn't even like this.
No.
Where it's just every single day, and that was a tactic of Project 2025 was to flood the political zone with so much that people just became exhausted.
Yeah.
People became exhausted because there was always something. So government shutdown is entering its 16th day. And as of today, Thursday, the Senate has failed to advance the Republican bill to extend government funding for the 10th time. So they've came back and they voted 10 times and it has not passed 10 times. This particular vote has been the same as always, 51 to 45, with the need of a 60, they call it a super majority of 60 to be able to pass the bill. So until that happens, the government is pretty much at a standstill. So they have passed a appropriations bill that will keep the Pentagon funded until this shutdown has been decided.
Let me ask,
And
what is,
yes,
real quick, let me ask, what's the, you might be getting to this, but what's the major sticking point keeping the government shut down?
so the major sticking point is the ACA, which is the Obamacare Affordable Care Act subsidies that went into effect during COVID. So
Mhm.
these subsidies were were supposed to be temporary subsidies while COVID was in effect because you had so many people who were jobless, who were losing their health insurance, and all of these things that happened during COVID that a lot of people just kind of either forgot or just ignoring that the world was literally shut down. And if you lost your job, you may have lost your health insurance, and these subsidies were able to keep people on their health insurance. However, it was supposed to have been temporary, which it was voted three other times to extend these subsidies. It's voted yearly to extend them. And that is the biggest kind of sticking point with the Democrats. And the reason that they are giving is they believe that it needs to be extended now and not kind of put on the table to be voted on at another time. The
Mhm.
Republicans feel like those two things are not the same. And, this was voted on in the summer. And this is the big, beautiful bill that it was voted on in the summer. And now with, now with it, it was passed in the House in the summer. And now it's the Senate's time to vote on the bill. And, that is the biggest kind of sticking point. So what these ACA subsidies mean is it affects the entire health insurance marketplace. So if these subsidies were to expire, then obviously those people who rely on the subsidies, their health insurance premiums are going to skyrocket. And
Mhm.
some of the projections are 2 or 3 times the amount that people are paying right now. Because when you have that type of spike in the system, other insurance carriers are going to naturally up the premiums. If
Up
you
to
have, I
premiums,
think
yes.
20 million people are on the ACA exchange. If all of their premiums go up, everybody's premiums is going to go up. You
Everybody's going
know,
on, right?
so the Republicans are like, well, we don't have to deal with that now. It doesn't expire until January, so we'll deal with it later. Now, later is is subjective, right? Because we've all gotten those notices about our health insurance premiums, and well, we've gotten a notice that open enrollment is starting, right? And this is normally how it works. You'll get the notice, and then you'll get a notice from your HR department giving you options, and without any clear pathway to these subsidies, now we're going to be going on just projections. And as we all know, if anything in life, the projection is always going to be higher. Like you never get a projection and it's lower than what you expected. So even with them not even negotiating, or even with them not passing the extension, people's insurance are going to go up. So I mean that's the biggest kind of sticking point is health insurance. The Republicans just feel like we need to negotiate it later. Predictions is that this government could be shut down indefinitely. I mean,
That
some
was
folks
definitely
are, yeah, some
that
folks
was
are
my next question.
saying after Halloween, some folks are saying after Thanksgiving, and right now it's like it's a war of attrition. And you have a couple of Republicans have sided with the Democrats that they feel like they need to negotiate this and attack this now and not later. So it doesn't look like it's going to be any, it doesn't look like it's going to be any solution in sight. However, I think that with the military kind of being, the National Guard and the military, being paid, I think that's all people really care about. But I think it's also interesting that Trump is now using this government shutdown as an excuse to fire employees and to eliminate funding. And they are really like fishing out Democrats. I don't know how they're doing this. They're fishing out Democrats to just fire them as punishment. And when you think about it, it's crazy because as much as you may like or dislike Donald Trump, he's still the president of the United States. He's not the president of just the Republican Party. So the fact that he would, willingly cause harm to people just because they didn't vote for him is just disgusting. And the way they talk about people losing their jobs is really kind of just disgusting. So stay tuned for that. Like I said, it doesn't look like it's too much of it doesn't look like it's any hope in sight. They just recessed for the week, so they won't be back until Monday. And we'll kind of have to go from there.
I think it is really crazy. Real quick, I think it's really crazy that he did in that press conference, or whoever he was talking to, say that people are going to lose jobs and they're going to be Democrats. And then when JD Vance was pressed on that, he tried to skate around it. But that's just pretty wild for a president to say. I don't like him using this opportunity every chance, because I feel like I read something every day where he says, or someone on that side says, this is the Democrat shutdown. It's like, what are we doing? Democratic shutdown. What are we doing here at this point? Like, what's people are
You're trying
not
to
getting paid.
you're trying to
It's ridiculous.
win the libs,
Right? Like,
and
what's
you need to
happening?
be trying to fix this, right?
Yeah.
You're in the government to govern, but it's I mean, I feel like, why would you think that the Republicans would be willing to govern at all? And when you look at like I said, the firings that's happening, but also the elimination of different programs and funds as a result of this. There was a study that showed like something like 90% of the programs that they have canceled have all been in blue states.
Yes.
And that just angers you, because we've never seen this brand of retribution to the American voters.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and obviously there's going to be collateral damage in that, right? Because you're probably going to be firing some of the wrong people anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, what if you didn't vote for Trump one year and voted for him the next, or whatever? Like, I mean, it's just a ridiculous way to govern. You're just, you know, harming people that really have nothing to do with, you know, the politics of it. These are just people that are trying to go to work.
Right.
But next thing I want to talk about was Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk, he was awarded. Trump awarded him the Medal of Freedom on what would have been Charlie Kirk's 32nd birthday. So he awarded Charlie Kirk the Medal of Freedom on October 14th, a couple of days ago. And the Medal of Freedom is, you know, it's the presidential medal is awarded to individuals who the president determines have made a exceptional contribution to the country. And, you know, the fact that they would, and we've seen this since Charlie Kirk's really unfortunate death, but the fact that they would prop up Charlie Kirk and sanitize or make an attempt to sanitize his behavior. There's nothing, you know, about the Medal of Freedom that should be directed towards Charlie Kirk unless you are someone who really believes and supports his ideology, his brand of attacks on Black people, on minorities, on women, on, you know, anything that is not white and male. But ironically, October 14th is George Floyd's birthday.
Yes.
And like I said, ironically, Charlie Kirk, you know, before he died, had so many things to say about George Floyd and how he lived and how he ultimately died. So almost a bit of irony that they would have birthdays on the same day. But yeah, he was awarded the Medal of Freedom from President Trump. And what I will say is this. Charlie Kirk was controversial.
3 messages on your phone.
Charlie Kirk was someone who had a large following, but he had a large amount of people that disagreed with him as a person. I think that when you prop somebody up like that, you know, Charlie Kirk was what we consider at the very least a skilled debater, a skilled talker. If Charlie Kirk wanted to clarify any of his statements that he made in his life, you know, he had plenty of opportunity to clarify these statements if he did not want to be perceived as that type of person. But you know, that's just something that we'll have to just deal with and kind of, you know, look at these awards and know that they're not really awards, that they're more like, I'm just giving my folks a solid.
Yes, exactly.
pretty much. The next story I want to talk about is this young Republicans' racist chats have been released.
Oh my goodness!
And it never fails that the Republicans are caught in some type of scandal involving being racist, being sexist. But there was this young Republican leaders chat. And it was about 15,000 people in this chat.
So I didn't know how many was in there. Okay.
Yeah, so a large amount of people. And when you hear it from the right, what they say is like these were kids that were, you know, locker room talk and stuff like that. And they try to like downplay the significance of it. However, a quick check of the people that were in this chat, there were people from the ages of 18 to 40 years old. So fully developed adults, you know, were engaging in this type of banter, conversation, right? And you know, obviously the easiest kind of target is always Black people, you know. So we were called the N-word, I think, over 250 times in there. Black people are monkeys or watermelon people, all of these kind of like ridiculous things that,
Watermelon people is funny.
I don't even eat watermelon. It's
Right.
terrible. But it, there's this kind of like thought in the Republican Party is like, why are y'all always saying that we're racist? Why are y'all always saying that we're bigots? Why are y'all always saying that we're sexist? And these are the examples of why. And even like when you hear some of our folks say, well, both parties are the same, and it's probably racist. It's most likely racist on the Democrat side that hate Black people. If it is, they do a real good job of not having leaked texts of them.
Right.
I mean, I can't think of one, that's been found to definitively say that this person is racist or this person loves Hitler or whatever these ridiculous messages that were in this chat. But I think it really kind of just gives everybody like a window to how in large groups of white people, how, there's no referee for this. So
No.
there wasn't a lot of we shouldn't be talking like that. There wasn't a lot of defense of Black people. But the question that I have for me, there's a large group text. How many people on this were Black or brown? And how many of those people just ignored this type of language just to be a part of this party?
That's scary.
It's scary. It's scary because you have to believe that there were Black and brown people floating up in there.
I mean, JD Vance's wife is Native American.
Yes, JD Vance's wife is Native American. But speaking of JD Vance, I mean, he's one of the voices that really kind of brushed off these texts. He's the one that said that's kids do what kids do, and we shouldn't come down hard on them. What I would say to JD Vance is this: we shut down universities because we felt like Jewish students were being disrespected. We felt like Jewish students weren't being protected. You're not protecting Black people, and by protecting them, in your words, is condemning this behavior. You're not condemning this behavior. You're chalking this behavior up to adolescent locker room talk. But that should tell you, how they feel about our dignity, how they feel about our sensibility, how they feel about us as people, and I don't want to do an us versus them, us versus Jews, but I mean, unfortunately, that is the most recent example of the world shutting down, and people getting deported, and people getting deported for saying something that they didn't like about Charlie Kirk, but when it comes to Black people, there's no defense. And that in itself, makes you wonder how can you be like a Black Republican? It's kind of ridiculous. But I got one more if you got time, B. Okay. The last one I got is the Capitol Police was called to investigate a swastika in a Republican's congressional office. So Republican comes to his office, and how they have it's like cubicle style, right? So on the cubicles you'll maybe have a picture of your wife or your dog or something, on your what do you call it, like thumb tack to your cubicle, right? We've all done it, right? So this particular time, the congressman looks at one of his aides kind of like cubicle area and sees this American flag, right? Now the American flag, the red bars have been manipulated in the figure of a swastika. And this is like found in the congressional office, right? And the amount of people that probably walked by this and just chalked it up, it just once again it just gives you a window of like what's the behavior of the Republicans, and how they feel about just about minorities, about people who are not white, is really just quite disgusting. But it's amazing that those are the same folks that will be like, we're not a racist party. But
Right.
for whatever reason, the racists live squarely in your party. I mean, it's actually pretty crazy. But outside of the racist stuff, I mean, I did want to bring one last thing, and that's the Argentina bailout. So
I saw that it was 40
right.
billion now.
Right. So now I think last time we might have talked, it was 20 billion. And now Trump is, and this, when you talk about corruption and just like ridiculous behavior, Trump just takes the cake, right? So they've already pledged to give Argentina $20 billion, right? Which in the middle of a government shutdown
is wild.
We are bailing a country out $20 billion, right? $20 billion. Now, Trump,
but the deficit, Reggie, the deficit.
Right. I mean, and that's why you can't listen to nothing that those folks say. I hate to say it. It's hard to listen to anything that those folks say, because you're telling me that we can't even negotiate healthcare prices, but you can send billions. Like, why do we care what goes on with their economy? I mean, Argentina economy can't affect us. Well, it does affect us in a way, right? It affects us in a negative way, because Argentina, even though they've gotten $20 billion from us, are not buying from our farmers. They're buying from China. So we're not even getting anything. We're actually losing money out the deal, right? But Trump has now said that if Argentina elects this candidate that Trump likes, instead of giving them 20 billion, he can give them 40 billion. What world are we living in, B?
Money talks.
What world are we living in? That the president of these United States would give $20 billion to a country just if they elect the person that he likes.
I think we living in the world that we always lived in. He's just exposing it.
Yeah. Listen, if I'm Argentina, I rigged the election. Fuck it. Right. Why not? Give me the 40 mil.
Right. We poor. Like, we're a poor country. I mean, we need that extra 20 billion. Yes.
Right.
Whoever you want.
And this is the thing. I'm sure that this candidate is probably a conservative Trumper.
Of course.
And probably not gonna win, because the country probably doesn't want that. So it's just kind of ridiculous that
I guess I can't see that. The problem for me is I can't see how the Argentina election Trumper benefits him. Why does it benefit Trump to have the Argentina Trumper
as whatever?
Country? Yeah. Well, how does that help? What is happening at the United Nations where that's helpful?
You know what's crazy? There's a world where it doesn't benefit him at all. All it does is boost his ego. And it's crazy to think about that from Trump, that he operates in such a way that it could just be a ego boost for him. Maybe he wants to feel like I can manipulate the elections of another country.
Yeah.
In public. That's just absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. I mean, that was the last one I have for you. I mean, we have plenty, B, especially
of course, it's a lot.
National Guard in Chicago is
National Guard in Chicago.
It's just a mess. Well, ICE, I don't think National Guard hasn't gotten to Chicago yet. They're on the outskirts of Chicago, but I don't believe that they've actually gotten to the city yet. Yeah, they're waiting on.
They're waiting on what?
Yeah, they're waiting on a court order. So they had a stay. Which means that in court terminology, a stay means that everything stays the same until the court can kind of figure it out. So they're appealing, they're appealing the ruling. And as of right now, the National Guard is like at the border of Chicago,
just waiting,
but not just waiting.
I saw that the sheriff, Montgomery County Sheriff, has agreed to let ICE work with law enforcement in the area to only quote unquote target criminals. So that's more local here in the Philly suburb area. So the
So
Montgomery County, not was it Montgomery or Delaware County? Anyway, one of the counties.
yeah,
There,
I can
the
tell you. I
sheriff.
can tell you one kind of example, and a lot of times they say that law enforcement is not cooperating with ICE, right?
Yeah,
And one of the ways that they want law enforcement to cooperate with ICE is if you are, say, you are a undocumented immigrant and you're in prison for something, right? It could be a traffic violation. Let's say you got traffic tickets or whatever, right?
hmm
They want the prison system and the local law enforcement to hold a person beyond their sentence so ICE can come and get them.
yeah,
And it's illegal to hold somebody beyond their sentence.
right.
Like if you get paperwork that says you're out of here, if ICE ain't there, then you rolling, right? But
hmm
to add, and this is what they would say is that they're not cooperating. To ask them to extend somebody's sentence, which is illegal, right? They extend somebody's sentence just so they can be able to coordinate their folks to wait out at the prison to lock them up. Is their version of not cooperating. But
Yeah,
but regardless of the situation, you can't make somebody serve more time than they have was supposed to serve. You see what I'm saying? Like, but that's what they would say is not cooperating. But even like in Chicago, like the Chicago police will come there if the police are called, like if 911 comes, but they're not gonna be their bodyguards.
yeah.
They got a whole city the police.
So police, right? Uh, okay. So I didn't want to bring this up, but because this has been a lengthy political perspective, but since we here, I am going to bring it up real quick. I saw a video earlier this week where there was ICE agents trying to abduct a person out of their car, and they had him on the ground, and the community was kind of like yelling at the ICE agents. The guy was giving a fight to the point where the ICE agents gave up, got in their car, and drove off. Now, nothing about these guys identified them as federal employees. I didn't see any ID. They just were white guys, sorry, with masks on their face. And the most telling part of the video for me was that they just jumped in a Nissan and drove off. Now, we all know that federal or government agencies use American cars. Is ICE bullshit? Like, what is this?
I think that when you have an organization like ICE that's just running wild, I mean, it gives free reign for other people to run wild.
It was a really wild video.
This is the first time that it's been that you have not been able to identify law enforcement, and that in some people's minds is cool. Like I'm like personally, and I hope this doesn't happen, but I think at some point an ICE officer is gonna get shot, right? Because
Oh my
you
God, I
run
can't
up,
wait.
I
can't wait. I don't give a fuck. I can't wait.
I mean, you run up on somebody,
Right.
jumping out, all black, whatever you got on, mask, whatever, man. You're not even like giving the traditional police commands, like
Yeah.
like LAPD or what? You're just jumping out and gripping people up, right?
Because you're
Without
trying to get that
identifying
50,000.
yourself
Right.
at all, at all. But it reminds me. Have you seen the Purge? Independence?
Yeah.
Is it Independence?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, where they had the military folks that was dressed up and just knocking people off.
Yeah,
like
that was crazy.
Nothing. That was, man. There's so many like parallels to movies and literature. Oh man, it give you
on a quote unquote positive note. I did enjoy, and if you didn't see it, y'all can Google it. The video of the woman who she sounded Jamaican, but she might have been African, cursing these ICE agents the fuck out and daring them to do something to her. It was hilarious. If you haven't seen it, Google it.
Thank you for watching this video. Please remember to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell.